Well, hey everybody, today we're going to talk about my Inkle loom, how I work it, how I make belts of different sorts and sizes. Different size material makes a different size belt, which are pretty cool. But I'm going to go through the setup process. This is going to be kind of a lengthy thing. It's never quick and easy. It takes a few hours to make it a decent sized belt. But today what we're going to do is I have some pieces here for making a collar for a dog, or it could be used for a cat. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a belt about that wide. This loom, this is the max width and length I can make. This is about 6 foot long belt. These are for Al's giveaway. This video will probably come out after his giveaway, so you'll see it in the giveaway beforehand. I got some yarns here, a couple different tools, a little beat and stick, and a stick here I wrap the yarn around, which I'll show how to do that. And then, you know, my selection of yarns. And I haven't decided exactly what pattern I want to do, but we'll figure it out. Let's get this out of the way for a minute. And the trick to this loom is kind of simple. I got a little bit of red yarn here to use up. So what I do is I hold it here, and the first strand goes over the top rung. And for a long belt, I go like this, and then I'll tie it together. Well, for a dog or a cat, we don't need it that long a belt. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go around the loom once, which is still a pretty long collar, but for demonstration purposes, this is the easy way. You will definitely need scissors. Some people don't do it this way. Some people will just keep wrapping each color, but I like to secure each and every one with a knot and pull it pretty decent tight. You don't want it too tight, but you don't want it coming apart either. So I'm doing a double overhand knot for that. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide this all the way over. Now this is the first strand, and it goes over the top one. The second strand will go under the top here. But in order to make this work, we need one of these, which these are made by going around these 3 poles. So the length is kind of pretty cool. But yeah, it just goes like this and pulls this strand down, and you'll see why it pulls it down here in a minute. Some of this junk out of my way, but let me put this somewhere a little more handy out of the way too. All right, so we're gonna go under here, around the same way, and back over here, and we're just gonna cut it and tie it just like we just did. Now when I'm doing these overhands, I do them, you really can't see, my hands are in the way, but I go around twice, not just a single overhand knot. Now, push it all over nice and tight. And now you can see that we have these strands. And when I'm working the loom, I'll lift this one up, push it down, lift this one up, push it down to run my main thread through. But I'm gonna do 4 strands like this in red. Each round is basically a repeat. And yeah, I'm just using up this old spool of red. Do the same, push it over. Grab another one of these. Basically the same thing. As you can see, that's pretty good. Now each time you do this, if you want the same color top and bottom of it, like this, inside and outside the same, you have to do the same amount over the peg and same amount under the peg, which is what I like. So we're gonna do another one around everything. The scissors could use a little sharpening, but they're old. find that doing the double on the overhand knot holds pretty darn good with this. All right, that's it for the red to start with. I think we're gonna do 2 rounds of green, which usually I take my bowl, my yarn, and I'll put this down by my feet. That way it's out of the way, it doesn't get tangled or anything, but same thing, we're just gonna hold it here, around, and back, and cut it off. Like I said, I pull this pretty tight. You definitely want tension. As you can see here, there's a slot for this rod. This actually moves, because as you build the belt, it gets tighter and tighter. So in order to adjust the belt, you have to be able to loosen it to rotate it, and which I'll show you when we get to that point. Let's get another one of these on there. And I like to put the knot side down, just so it's not in the way of the upper area. Yeah, push it all over, nice and tight. Now grab my green again. And the same thing, under the peg. And it's pretty easy to keep track as long as you remember to put these white things on. I can't ever remember the names of stuff. They all have technical names, but I have made a lot of these belts over the years. You know, stuff like this, trim for clothing, or just regular belts for putting on. All right, now you can see this is what the belt will look like here. And obviously I need a lot more strands. So we're just gonna keep going. Go ahead and do one more green. So what I want to do is get about halfway on the strands, then we'll reverse the pattern. And I'll show that when we get there. So we'll do 2 red, 2 green. Gotta be careful with the green. It's a weaker color as far as the thread strength. The green tends to break a little easier, but if it does break, I'll just try again until I find a strong piece of thread. All right, we'll get that on there. Everything's slid together, nice and tight. All right, one more green down low. Slide that over. Now you can see we got 4 bands, or 4 threads. Even though we run 8, we only get 4 to show. And as you can see, we're not even halfway yet. I'd say we'll do 2 more in a single color, and then we're going to use the center for the yellow. So we'll switch to green, put that out of my bowl, set that aside, and we're going to go to a tan, and we'll do same thing, two times around. Now, like I said, some people would just keep going and not tie them down here. I prefer to tie it individually, especially if I'm doing a really intricate pattern. This loom has many uses. You can do this kind of weaving on it, which is just a basic Inkle weave. You can do card weaving on this, which is kind of fun. Very much more intricacy and card weaving and math, lots of math. Well, it's all math because you just got to remember your numbers. But I'll go around. find the tan to be a very strong thread, so I use that a lot for my necklaces. Quit dropping it all the way to the ground, that would be good. I'm trying to set it on my leg so I can reach down and grab it again, but it kind of fails sometimes. And yeah, I keep these on a carabiner. A little easier to keep track of them. Same thing, hook it, latch it, slide her all over. Looking good. All right. Now, as you can see, I pull the 4 threads together. We're about halfway. So, I'll take the tan, we'll set it aside for a minute. And we'll do a single yellow, which is still doing it twice. As soon as I can find the end. There it is. And we're here. I got 2 gray, or 2 tan. Oh, I missed the tan. I sure did. All right. Let me throw another one on there real quick. Got ahead of myself. It happens. I've had to tear apart many of these from doing that. Sometimes you can do it and you don't notice. Oh, I noticed to drop my scissors somewhere. Oh, I don't see them. Set them up here? No? All right, well, give me a second here. I had them sitting in my lap. Oh, there they are, right below my chair. All right, so cut, tie it. Pull the knot tight. All right, now we have same amount of strands, top and bottom. We'll set that back aside and go to the yellow again. Now for the yellow, I only want 1, but I want it top and bottom, so I'll have to do this one over and one under the peg. Always when you go over the peg, that's the one that you have to pull down. Slide everything over. And you can see here, it looks like it's a lot wider, but it's only half that. That's why when I'm looking at to see what size I want, I look at this setup here. So put one more here, and we go under and around. All right, and that's halfway. So what's going to happen here is when I go like this, I'll still have the yellow in the, but only have 1 strand of it instead of 2. Now I'm done with the yellow. We're just basically going to reverse the whole thing. So 4 strands of gray, 4 strands of green, and 4 strands of red. When I get that done, I'll come on back. All right, last strand. Hey, almost used up every bit of yarn on that little bit of red I had. That's good. I didn't lose much. Oops. So keep doing that. All right, make sure everything's still around where it goes. And quit letting it go. I don't want it falling off again. All right, that's the basic setup, and as you can see, this will be the pattern here, top and bottom. So take my thing, it's going to fit in there almost perfectly. And that is the simple setup. You don't have to do it even patterns, you can do it however you want. I like it even. I go halfway one, and then when I go back I just do it a duplicate the other direction. As you see, my first one's tied up and my last one isn't. That way everything's even. Alright, we're done setting that up. I'm going to do the edge in red so it matches in here. So what I need to do is take this and this, and I gotta basically tie my thread around it. And what I'll do is I'll go like this, a snake pattern. And you just keep going. Sometimes some people don't do the snake pattern. I find it comes undone a lot smoother when you do it this way. Now that strand's holding itself, so I don't have to worry about it. And I'll load, I don't know how much yarn I need. I never got good at measuring it or anything, worrying about measuring. But I'll put quite a bit on here, because all it's got to do is zigzag the length of this belt. And it's okay if you run short, you can easily add in. It's pretty easy. But a lot of times I'll switch this up and go to the other side too. But I'd like to have more than enough. Having a little leftover on here, sometimes it's enough to make a couple necklaces, or use what I can of it. I don't like to waste too much. But since this is a short belt, we won't have to really load this up heavy. And when I'm doing the big belts, I'll keep going until these notches are almost full of yarn. But yeah, definitely, I like the snake pattern of putting it on the piece. Like I said, it just comes off way better. Alright, I'm thinking that's probably enough. Cut that off. That means we're pretty much done with the yarn, and that's onto the kind of the more complicated part, which is the actual weaving. And I'll try to do this so you can see what I'm doing. As you can see here, I can lift this up and I can push it down. This is my control area. I use this piece to put in here and hold them apart so I can slide the shuttle through. Yeah, go up, put this in, and I'll cock it so I can slide my shuttle through. To start with, many ways to start off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one strand way long and leave it in there. Push these down, that up. Okay, now you can see the thread going through there. What I'm going to do is pass the shuttle through and pass this end string through. Now from here, the hard part's pulling it all together. Which, first couple, I broke, hopefully it was the right one, that's fine. I can fix that. So, it broke, I pulled too hard. So I'll take that back out, same thing. Just go like that, separate the string. Sometimes you got to really watch. And with this, only this many number of strands, it's pretty easy to tell. But the whole idea is to pinch these together. So I'll try that without breaking it this time. The idea is you don't really want to see the strand going across the other strand. So pinch that, pull this through. Make sure that other end's still out. And there, that's my pattern. I gotta pinch it. The first couple strands are the hard ones. Once you get that, it's actually pretty simple. So I like to take the beater, pull it down, pull the strands tight together, pass that one through. I only do that a couple times and I'll cut it off. Pull pull her tight, move all of them up again, go through. See, I almost missed one there. It's easy to see. Beat it down, back up. Now, this one, I don't want to go all the way through, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut it a little short, pass this through, pull her tight. I'll leave that there for now. Pull down, pull belt tight, shuttle back through. Like I pinch it right on that edge and pull it tight. Now you kind of see a zigzag to the pattern because they're passing each other. Beat it. Sometimes even after you beat it, you have to kind of pull, which is fine. As far as this loose one, you could put it in the middle of the belt. You could put it anywhere you want, but once it's like that, you can just come in, snip it off. You no longer see it. I'm going to continue this until I get about up to here. Then I'll show you how to rotate it. I'll be back. Okay, I'm getting to the point where I barely get my loom through here. It's always nice to have plenty of space. There's one more lap here. Beat her down nice and tight. As you can see, I don't have much room left here. If I have more on the stick, it would go a lot tighter, but pull that in tight and then basically just remove all that stuff. And then I'm down here, which to start with I had this screwed real tight. It's just a Phillips screw here, so I'm going to loosen that up just a hair. Friction will keep it in place. What I do is, hopefully I loosened it up enough, is just slide this right in that groove, and you can see everything just went limp. So what I want to do is I want to bring this down to here, tighten her up a little bit, slide all those up, and then I reef on it and pull it tight. And that gives me that much more room to, you know, 2-3 inches at a time to work. The only thing that's hard is remembering whether you're up or down, but you come down and you can see your thread here, so there it's good. And then I just keep doing that over and over and over again. You know, the whole process, it's simple. It took me a lot of practice to learn it and to get it, you know, down to where I can do this at a pretty good, decent pace. Oops, I missed a green one there. That's why I got the black tape on here, so I can see 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. And that way I can keep track of the pattern a lot easier in case I miss a thread. Because if you miss one, you got to go back through. Oops. There we go. I didn't beat it, so I didn't want to go through the right. All that's part of the process. But I like to hold these end pieces right there and I pull it tight. That way it doesn't take this end piece and really just curl it under a long ways. Keeps your edges more consistent, more even. But just like that, hold it, pinch it, pull it, and onward. Some people don't use this stick. I find it easier not to have to. A lot of people will just go like this, slide this in, beat it down, and then pass it through. For me, I'm kind of simple-minded. It gets me confused where I'm at as far as this goes. But if I got the stick in here, holding it open, I always know whether my strands are up or down each time I go through. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead, finish doing all this weaving, which overall will take me about an hour, hour and a half. When we get to the end, I'll show you how I really simply just finish it. But yeah, I'll come back at that point. I'm a little less than halfway. Been at it, I'd say about 15-20 minutes. And you see my belt starts right about here, so I've got about, I don't know, 12 inches done. I was thinking about it, I'm sitting here. Some of you might be curious how you do the little diamond. Well, instead of the 2 strands of yellow, you only do 1. And that'll give you it alternating. Let me show you. There's the front and the back. But if I go like this and I show you that, see where it's brown on this side, but it's got the yellow on the other. And it kind of just alternates. That still looks like the same exact pattern. But yeah, it's fun to play with it. I've done, like I said, a lot of belts. I'll try to find a picture I have of some of the belts, post them in this video. Also, I didn't take pictures of every belt I made. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going. They're only big enough for any kind of small dog or cat at this point, but I'm gonna finish this out. And whoever wins this on the giveaway, they can just adjust it to the size they want. I will be doing all the fastening and stuff like that too. Another thing you might be curious about is how do you pause? Well, a lot of times I'll just do this, put these 2 pieces together, set the loom aside. That way when I come back I know exactly where I'm at. It's still together and it's still easy to work. But yeah, I'm going to take a break right now because I'm starting to really sweat and take care of that. As you can see, my belt is coming around to where it's going to do the split. My knots are kind of tangled together, but that's all right. There we go. So I can't really go a whole lot further. And right now I've got, I don't know, a big enough collar for about anything. So I'm just gonna call it good right there. Cut my line. Now there's a lot of ways to finish this. You could put a needle in there, keep weaving. Each time you go through, put a needle in. And at the end, take this, put it through your needle, pull it through, and it will lock it in together, kind of like I did at the beginning. But since I'm going to be sewing this, I'm just going to take that and do a double knot around the first thread. So just pull it down, call it good, done, and then cut it, done. Over here where the knots are, just going to go right past the knot there, cut it off. Same on this one. And all this, yeah, just extra, no big deal. Don't worry about it too much. And these I'll redo, put back on my carabiner. Some of you may wonder, where do I get one of these? They do sell them in many different sizes. I made this. I made the tools myself also. Normally I'll use a tool like this that's got a V in this end also for this piece. Works just as well, it doesn't matter. The loom itself, it took me a little while to figure out the design I wanted for this particular one. This is my smallest loom. I got others that are bigger. I got a loom that I made that goes up to 12 feet. And you literally set it on the ground to work it. The main thing about it is the distance from here to here in height compared to this piece. And it took me a while playing with it. Basically what I did is put nails in a table. Then that's how I worked out the design for all my looms. That way I knew I had the right distance from this side of the peg, that top of this peg, you know, and tying them down to this peg made them pretty close to even. But yeah, if you know any woodworkers, they can look at the designs online build them, or you can go online and just buy one. I sold most of mine, and I sold them for about 125 bucks, depends who it was. But as you can see, the belt came out pretty good. Exact same design, both sides. Sometimes if you want at the ends, you can take the 2 threads like these, first 2, each time in an overhand knot, done, and you go all the way across doing that, and they won't come apart. For what I'm doing, it's not going to matter, because I'm going to be folding them over and doing a stitch across. For here, I'll be sliding this on there, folding it over, doing a stitch across. You can see that my band is a little wide. That's fine, it will fit in there. So I guess the next step is, for me, that's a big collar, is to get a sewing kit out and stitch it together. I'll show you some of that as I do the pieces. And we'll put together this belt, or dog collar I should say, not belt. You guys are gonna have to forgive me on this part. I am not the best sewer, and I didn't really want to get out the sewing machine. So what we're gonna do is try to shove all these through here. All right, it's not as easy as it looks. Yeah, don't look easy either. Basically just gonna try to shove all the threads through that I can. See if I can. Oh, what a pain in the backside. All right, let me tie off this other corner here, and I'll cut them a little shorter. Kind of a tight fit overall, so I don't want my corners coming apart. This is the most important part, so if I can get it through like that. Nope, it's not going to do that either. All right, cut it off a little shorter. And if it does unravel a little bit, I'd just come back and unstitch across it. All that good. But let's yank it through there. All right. You can see I made it a little wide, probably 2 strands too wide. And what I'm gonna do is just stitch this through. The big idea here is, you can see where the lump is. Boy, it's gonna be hard to see on the camera, but if I go through right above that, I can get through most of the threads. And cut off my little tag. That's all right. I am using a little heavier thread than normal, since this is for an animal. But all I'm gonna do is connect it like that, and try to do the same thing back through this set of threads. And not bad, I think I got most of them. And then of course, back through right there. Now, it's not attached, so what I'm gonna end up doing is just the zigzag thread through, sorry about that, hit the camera, through, and I'll probably do this like 4 or 5 times across. Instead of I had the sewing machine out, it'd be a lot easier, but I do know how to use the sewing machine. Not so good with the hand needle, but the whole idea is just to secure this so it doesn't come apart. Oh, and another thing is, this is how it sits on the dog, so I want this flap up. That's kind of important part, somewhat important I guess, for the comfort of the collar itself. Yeah, if I'd had the sewing machine, I would have just ran back and forth across and across and across until I had a spot where I could just cut it right above that, and it would be pretty secure. I'm using tan thread because I don't have a heavy-duty red color. This is normally what I carry in my med kit, in my backpack, so give me a second. Sorry about that. The Marine Corps is out running maneuvers. We'll go around the end here and back across, probably 2 more times. I'll bring you back when that is done. Alright, that is firmly attached and sewed off pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through right about there. I said my scissors a little dull. There we go. That was the easy piece. As you can see, it's going to be a pretty lengthy collar. This will fit about anything, and whoever gets it can do the stitching across wherever they want. I suggest folding it over and just stitching across here. But now we gotta add the other 2 parts, which got that corner tied, but I need to tie this corner. I do that just so it doesn't have a chance to unravel. Overall, it doesn't really want to unravel, but it can. So, oops, hold that a little too tight. That's all right. There, got a knot in there, so it's not going to come apart. And cut off most of these tails. Like I said, when I'm making a belt, a lot of people like the tails, so I'll just tie the knots all through everything. Let's see if I can get this right. That backwards, so let's see if I can flip that over. I want the top of the belt, so we'll go back through there. Or did I just do that backwards? I think I just did that backwards. Okay. Think not really good at this part. All right, I know it goes through here, back through here, right? Yep. Then we'll be back over like that. So I want this like that. So all right, through there, through there. All right. And that's the tensioner, so you can adjust the length of the belt. This piece, it's gonna be tough to get through this piece, but it's all right. It's starting to want to come apart a little bit. I said that'd be a little easier if I had the sewing machine out here and I just absolutely stitched it up. See, I just pulled that apart. It's all right. In the end, it won't matter as long as I can get majority of it through. This part's just a little tighter. There we go. Yeah, I pulled the end strand out, but it can't come apart because it's tight on there. And back through here. Should grab my tweezers or something like that to pull this through, but there we go. Through there. I'm gonna leave this undone. But the whole idea is you put this through there and through there once you got the length of the piece you want. But here we have a dog collar. And yeah, I could have made the band a little smaller, but it'll work just fine. And that's pretty cool. Pretty cool idea. Like I said, when I normally do a belt, I'll show you on this one. When you come around, you'll just tie it in a knot and leave this part dangling, because that's kind of the cool looking part of it. But even this one, whoever wins this one, I've taken to stitch across there a couple times, probably in any color you want, but same with both ends. That way it doesn't have a chance to unravel. Or you can go through, like I said, and take the first 2 strands, tie them, second 2 strands, tie them, and just keep going like that, and it works. Some people will just stitch them stitch a regular ring on the one end and then tie it like a standard old style belt. But yeah, these are both given away on Al's channel for his 24-hour live. I hope whoever gets them enjoys them. That is a pretty good sized collar. But yeah, I'm probably gonna make another larger belt. Also will be given away at his channel, and then I don't know what else. I'm gonna make a few things to give away for his 24-hour live. So I want to thank everybody for watching this. And sorry it's a little bit lengthy, but this whole process is not an easy, short process. And thank you for watching.